is Warriors Anonymous.
Well, it's been a while since we've done a little podcast, but I guess we kind of had to because we needed to sign off for 2024. This is Warriors Anonymous. And we've got all the lads on here to just wrap up the grand finale, if you will. Jared Cronin, joined by Monty Sauce, Isaac Sauce, and Daniel Fakura. Boys, wow, it kind of feels like about 100 years ago since the Warriors tipped up the Sharkies at home. So I guess maybe we probably should have a look into that first of all. Isaac with the nice branded gear there, by the way, bro. Liking that. Looking good.
I'm just thinking about tattooing on the top of my head here.
Bro, the Sharkies game was it was a funny one to watch. Watching us, fall behind and fall into familiar patterns, and then all of a sudden we fell into some unfamiliar patterns. But bro, what was your thoughts on how we took down the Sharkies at home with a little bit of payback?
Oh, mate, it was awesome to see SJ actually just take the reins, and his own admission, he was just playing at touch styles, which I'd love to hear. I mean, because that's what we all know and love him for as well. It's just the way he can sort of play in a dinner suit and make people look stupid. But yeah, at the same time, just massive what could have been, to play a game like that, especially after, the miracle at Shark Park last year as well. It just felt bittersweet to see a win like that, knowing that that's what we probably could have pulled off throughout most of the season. But yeah, it was obviously nice to finish on a winning note, and with SJ playing the game that he did.
Absolutely. It was a funny one because it was we'd had the big emotional farewell for the guys who were leaving the week before. So this one was kind of just finishing off for the sake of it, kind of like this podcast. But Moneta, bro, what was your take on on seeing the boys finish up on a positive note, especially for Adam, Sean, and Jazz who were leaving?
Oh no, it was great. I mean, you couldn't picture the perfect story, like the way to end it, like a fairy tale ending. On the last pass for Sean to score, for DWZ to score in the corner, and you could hear just the commentators going berserk. And Fanua Blake, we'll definitely miss him, and he played I thought a stellar of a game, and Jazz, and I'll miss him, mate. I still think he embodies that kind of whole Warrior spirit, and I think you could tell he's kind of gutted to be leaving the Warriors too, and so forth. But it's great that we ended on a kind of a spectacular note, I would say. And that second half was absolutely brilliant, and they were doing it for each other, and you could definitely tell. And again, it just makes you go, "What if?" Watching Metcalf and Sean together, and the way Sean played, injury free, it makes you go, "Oh, maybe you stay one more year. Can you change your mind?" But
just one more.
It's too late. It's too late now. But yeah, no, it was good. It's good.
Yeah, it's like that. What is it? Yeah, the Big Brother thing on Simpsons. He's not coming back, is he? Well, he might. No, he's not. He's not. Yeah. But it was interesting, wasn't it? Watching Sean bloody. I was looking at him thinking, man, he's bouncing around. Not even like it's 2023. He's bouncing around like it's friggin' back in 2018 kind of styles. He turned back the clock, and it was like, what the hell's going on here, bro? Buddha, what was your thoughts on, where had this been? Was it the fact that the pressure was gone and we just went out and just had a crack?
To be honest, I only saw 1 minute and 5 seconds of that game. So I can only assume he was doing what he was doing. But I was at a work function, and I saw we scored early on, and then I checked the score at halftime, 22-4, and I was like, that's all she wrote. And then we were getting off the bus to head back to our accommodation, and me and one of the bros I work with kind of flipped it on. We'd seen the score, and it was the fact that we were actually, I think we were tied, but then they got their kick, and by the time we got off the bus, we got the phone up, and then literally the Sharks had dropped the ball, and they went into scrum, and we just looked at each other, and we went, Sean's last set, what can he do? And we just sat there and watched it, and we could see the play unfold, and I saw him kind of hiding behind on that fifth tackle, ready to come out to the right-hand side, and I thought, oh, here we go. He's gonna get it out there. And that that sort of pass out to Dallin. For Dallin to do what Dallin did as well, to go over the line, and we just jumped up, hugged each other, high-fived, and just thought, what a remarkable way to sign off your career with a great player, great set, and, a match winner as well. So, delighted to watch that. I know, it's kind of fitting, right? Like, he just deserved to go out being in control and making it happen. So, all accounts, he was a man possessed, bouncing around and wanting back the club.
I found it really interesting in his post-match press conference because he got on pretty deep with what he was telling people about how they were manipulating the defenses and sliding one way and setting it up, basically thinking 2 and 3 tackles ahead on what they were doing. And it was quite interesting to see a little bit behind the curtain, and the fact that he's going to look to have a bit of a mentoring sort of job, going forward, Isaac. That can only be a good thing for the halves that we have, coming through in the system at the moment.
100%. Metcalf had a nice little touch in that game as well, crossfield kick. And I just thought to myself that SJ needs to really take a guy like Metcalf under his wing and just fill him with confidence and just let him know that he can play his style of game, just like SJ had done. And when he's at his best, he just plays his way and doesn't try to be anyone else. And I hope that, SJ in his mentoring role just passes on all the wisdom that he can to a guy like Metcalf, because I reckon Metcalf is the future for the Warriors. He's got all the talent. He's got the speed. Maybe SJ could help him work on his step a bit more, teach him the few tricks of the trade. But, I think SJ is a mentor for a guy like Metcalf. We're lucky to have SJ at the club still in some capacity.
Yeah, man. If Metcalf could get a step, he would be, that would be devastating to add to his attacking arsenal. But there's been a bit of chatter around Moneta that there's potentially a couple more players heading out the door, ones that were not sort of planned, or at least from the outside weren't really widely known. Names like Marcelo Montoya has been mentioned, Bunty Afour. And also our guy Freddie Lussick, his name's been thrown in there. I saw in one of the one of the rumor mills. I guess you can only read into these things so far, but there's obviously potential there for these guys to be heading somewhere else. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear about the Bunty Afour one until like late this afternoon, actually, just after work, and I'm not kind of surprised about that. And I kind of picture him being like Ali Katoa, going over to the Storm and all of a sudden just really hitting his stride. I really hope that doesn't happen again with one of our Warriors players. And go, what if? With Marcelo Montoya, I did hear, his wife had twins and they want to kind of be back with the family and far now. And so, that kind of makes sense, and I heard there's a rumour that Sean Stevenson, one of the All Blacks, might be signing up with us. There's a bit of a rumour, so that's why maybe that's pushing Marcelo maybe to look at other kind of avenues in terms of teams. And Freddie Lussick, I actually thought he was doing okay. Like, at the end, I thought he was doing pretty well. I know I've given him a few hard times at the beginning of the season, but I'll never forget his mana wave, and all that stuff. And I'm sure those guys, will be picked up if they do decide to go. And they won't be sitting on the sidelines for too long. A bit like Jazz, but I haven't heard too much about Jazz actually. I don't know where he's going.
Yeah.
Last week I've heard that maybe Manly. That's the last thing I heard, that he might go to Manly.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he did mention cryptically, he's heading somewhere warmer. So that's
Everywhere.
That's
Maybe not Canberra.
possibly not.
Canberra.
Oy, oy, oy. And we're also getting, we'll get into this a little bit further along the line as well, but we're getting basically sort of Jazz version 1.1 coming in.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that shortly. Before we do, we need to go over 2024. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Daniel, what went wrong this year?
Wow. Where do we begin? I mean, if we start at the very start, we weirdly we started the season well playing, but we lost our first 2 games, right? And so that kind of sent a little bit of a shockwave, and through Warriors faithful. I think the feeling is we played really well. Obviously, we played really well against the Storm. Really well. Oh, did we lose that one on the last minute? Said about 9 times throughout the season. So yeah, I think one aspect of that is I got a sense early on that we had the power game in our power, and I guess Gus talks about like the power rankings. They do that in other sports. It depends where you are, wins and losses, whatever, but it's more about the performance. I think in the first 4 or 5 rounds, we were rated as one of the dominant teams. We lost well. You lose well, and then we had some gritty wins to come back. But I think there was a period there where we were good, but I think we just thought we could just turn up, and it was 2023, and it just unfolded for us. They got into that kind of, we talk about it, the hangover of 2023, really the highs of the highs that were that we kind of slightly slow start and got back on track. But I think we started to feel the general sense, right, that we were, our shit didn't stink, and we could just turn up and beat teams. So I mean, that was one aspect I thought early on got us in the butt.
In the butt.
right there, where it hurts. Isaac, what's your thoughts, bro? What's your key takeaways in terms of what went wrong for us?
Pretty much what Dan said. I mean, the hype. I talked about it at length throughout the season. Just the hype machine went into overdrive for the Warriors. Great for the crowds, the sellouts, amazing stuff. Great for the fandom. Maybe not so good for the actual team themselves. I just thought they felt like they could turn up and go to plan A and everything would just be happy as Larry. But the problem was when other teams had figured out plan A, which they certainly had done, plan B didn't look so good. And even then, plan A at times, even early in the season, didn't look as well. It didn't look like a well-oiled machine. I think we commented on that as well. It seemed they were a bit rusty and it just didn't seem to go to plan. But yeah, for me, I think the biggest thing was just that the hype machine, maybe they just got too far ahead of themselves and were looking at the finals before actually earning their stripes and getting themselves there. And then by the time they realized that they had to put in the hard work, times had got tough, injuries, all those sorts of things sort of to pile up. And then it was just too late.
Yeah, indeed. And we had a bit of at one stage there, a horror injury run as well. And I'm also going to put it out there that I'm going to suggest we probably tried to play Sean especially, probably among other guys, before they were properly right. And I think you can see the benefits right in their last game of what a healthy Sean would have looked like versus what we were seeing in the earlier part of the year. That's not all on Sean, by the way, but just felt as though we were trying to just maybe force things a little bit and try and manage things rather than really getting things properly right. I felt like, 2023, felt like we were patient with guys to bring them back and making sure they were a handy. Whereas this year we kind of were like, 85, we can take that, let's give it a go. Moneta, what were your thoughts on, like the team selections this year?
I think you kind of alluded to like injuries. I think it's one of the worst I think I can remember in terms of being struck by injury, especially in key positions. And so it made selection quite hard, I think, to get in terms of consistency. So getting a consistency week to week, building that kind of cohesion is always going to be a tough task when you've got a number of key players down. You had Sean Metcalf at the beginning, you had Tahu. You had Marata, all of them at one point were just injured, CHT. So selections were going to be hard. And then, you'd have to kind of pull into the younger ranks, like Leka and so forth, and Dimitri and so forth. So I guess the positive is that we were able to tap into some really good talent from the lower grades. So if there's any positive, I think it's that we do look brighter for the future. I think God, my brains are missing. The fullback. What is it?
Tane Tuapiki.
Tuapiki. Yes, Tuapiki. Yeah. I mean, I think he's shown himself to be a first grader, and I think he needs to be a starter next year somewhere. But yeah, selections was always going to be hard considering the amount of injuries we got, and then building consistency impacts on that, and then the cohesion, and we had it tough. So selection was always going to be tough this year.
You talk about the injuries part as well. I guess it's for me, the second part of where we got to is it obviously highlighted that we have, I think, the second oldest average age for a squad as well, which I think early on we were looking okay, early into the season. You get those injuries to players, some big ones, a couple of league breaks. Seems to happen every year now. Some nasty ones, but yeah, some long-term stuff, some niggly calves. Hey, niggly calves, us elder statesmen.
Sore glutes.
Yes. Some pull glutes. But I think that really indicated two things for me. Obviously, then the more of the injuries that take its toll on all the bodies. But one thing for me, I really started to get towards the back end of the season is that we just couldn't keep up with teams. We could start well. They'd catch us at half time, and then we would be holding on to the second half, and we just had nothing really. And the amount of times that we were in the head and we got ran down as well. The amount of times, we just couldn't compete. And the Bulldogs game was probably an indication for me where, we were kind of neck and neck with them, and then they just ground us down. We couldn't get anywhere. We couldn't get any go forward, and they just applied pressure. So I just thought we maybe lost or couldn't keep up with some of those younger squads as well. Took its toll, I think, injuries and age.
Yeah, the old spring chickens bouncing around on the bloody field, bastards. Now there was a mention about the some of the young guys who are coming up. There's obviously guys who have improved their stocks throughout the season. We're going to do a bit of a name and shame. It's going to be a fun part. We'll start with you, Isaac. Whose stock in the Warriors squad took a dive for 2024?
Oh, I've got two players in mind, and there's no knock on them. I love them, but there were some glaring issues that came to light, especially when you're losing. Murata Niokore and Jackson Ford. I thought on the back end of the season, Murata's defense was pretty woeful. He wasn't making good decisions on defense. And they were pretty obvious decisions that he was making that were leading to points as well. They didn't show any, those efforts didn't show any effort, really. They were just poor defensive reads. And I thought that's something, if I was a coach, I would be looking at. If I was an opposing coach, I would be targeting him on defense for the decisions that he makes. And Jackson Ford, I mean, after the year he had last year, he burst onto the scene, really. And, he's a fan favorite here at Warriors Anonymous. But this year, I mean, he did a few good things, but then he just sort of disappeared off the radar. And they're just really down to, the spirit fingers, for one thing, is probably his biggest issue. And then just giving away stupid penalties as well. I mean, I know he tries hard, but I think he's going to have to fight pretty hard to get himself back into the first grade ranks next year, to be honest. He's going to have to show some real improvement. And I feel quite bad for him after the year that he had last year. But those two are, I identified as stocks down and plummeting as towards the end of the season.
Bro, I'm 100% with you on that. I 100% agree on those two players. Ed in for Jackson Ford. The fact that he's almost one of the worst decoy runners I think I've ever seen. He just kept costing us tries as well. On top of that, but I did like how they did. They moved him into a middle forward sort of position, which actually kind of seemed to suit him a little bit more before he kind of faded away. I don't know if he got injured towards the end of the year, but yeah, interesting one for those two boys. After again a really good 2023. Not so much this year. Moneta, who are you looking at for the stocks down, man?
Isaac kind of took them, but I'll name someone. It's probably not their stocks down, but one that comes to is RTS. Yeah, and trying to think of another one at the moment.
We can discuss Roger.
It doesn't have to be
I
two.
was going to say DWZ at times because his defense is, his stocks didn't go down. He's solid. I'll give him, a bit of a C plus B minor in terms of how he played this year. But in terms of RTS, I just don't think I'll sum it up. I don't think the experiment worked. I don't think Webster putting him in the centres really gave him the space to do what he naturally does, and is to kind of run it around and to step players and so forth. And I don't know, he just didn't look like himself in the centres. So, and he just looked uncomfortable, really. So I'm hoping next year they might reconsider a different position for him, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, he was probably, all the hype coming in. He had played for the All Blacks. We remember him from those times, like 4 years ago, when he was just sidestepping everyone, and to when he came back. I mean, there were glimpses of his brilliance, but there weren't enough. And funny enough, they came from fullback, I think. I
feel for Roger though. I feel for him because he had a chat with Jazz and I think it was Tohu or someone, and he's like, "Should I sign?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's different. It's different. Yeah." And it turns out and
this again.
I think he's buying into it, but I just think it comes down to the fact that it's not his position. I think they've tried for a year. I think next year they're going to have to change it, and they can't keep on going on for another year of experimenting in that position. They've already got Rocco Berry coming in the ranks. Like Ali Latawa was playing. I thought he had a sensational game the last game. And and I think there's a few other centres that could come in. And Adam Pompey, I think, is even, I dare say, a bit of an RTS in the middle. At times, though, his defence. But, so yeah, that's my pick. Sadly.
I think you've inadvertently basically taken a little dig at the fact that the coaching staff, the experiment hasn't worked, right? I mean, it hasn't gone to plan, and lots of people were sort of saying it's not working, and they kind of pressed on a little bit. I'd love to see the breakdown of Roger in terms of minutes played in what position, because he was all over the shop. Like even in different games, he was he's wing, centre, fullback. Like he was I don't even know if he knew where he was playing some of the times. Poor old Rog, but Daniel, who are you? Who's in the crosshairs for you, bro? Who are you stocking down?
could be quite controversial, lads, but and just based on the early season form and the talk of representative honours to then to fall away, I thought that was Wade Egan. He started really well, and the pinnacle of that was what we know now was a bunnies team. But when we put them to the sword, there was very strong talk that Wade was in Origin selection. And look, I love Wade. I love what he can do. You know, he's a fan favourite here. But I just think towards the middle and the end of the season, we just didn't see the kind of form that was that was talked about early on. So I feel he faded away as well. Not sure whether it was carrying injuries, niggles, slightly better from a concussion perspective. Like, you know, he had a pretty poor year last year. Well, and, you know, that can't be helped, right? But for his own health as well. So, yeah, I think he'd come back with a little bit of a, stone in the shoe to kind of say, hey, look, I was in the Origin selection. And I didn't kind of push on for the rest of the season. So that's my main one. And I've got a couple of others, but not really players, but they're sort of, how would you put it, the particular activities. So my stocks were down on the ability to kick a fucking drop goal in a fucking game.
How about kick a ball through the posts? Ooh,
That was my
CHT
next
drop
one.
goal or penalty.
Like, oh my gosh. Like, we were 0 from 9, I can count, maybe, in game-winning opportunities, or, in the last 10 minutes of a game, and even in extra time. The fact that we got a draw against Manly probably speaks more volumes against DCE not actually winning the game, because he wins every Golden Point game. And the other fact is that fans were asking for Pompey to come back so he could kick a 2-point conversion. So yeah, anyone involved in dropping, what Isaac said, putting the ball through the posts for points.
Yeah.
Socks are down.
Kicking practice, every type of kick.
Hey, interesting year though. No Pompey hate. I don't think anyone really hated on Pompey. At all.
There's a typical suspect, but yeah.
Oh yeah. There's one guy, thou shalt not be named. But apart from that, the Pompey hate was pretty non-existent, which is weird considering last year he probably played even better and played every game, and he still got hate.
So he's basically the barometer, right? Like,
He is the
if we're
barometer.
doing well, he's going to cop it. If we're not doing well, he's fine. Like, that's kind of it. Also, stocks way down, way down. Was the refereeing across Warriors games and also entire NRL? Like, how much
We have a winner.
far out? They tanked them. Someone should have shorted their stock because they would have made big on that one. Oy, oy, oy.
The Big Short.
That's right. Oh man. All right. Stock's down. Of course. Got to have some stock up as well. So Isaac, we'll start with you, bro. Let's bring the positives now, bro.
Tiny
What
Tane.
oh yeah, nice.
I had to just cut you off right there, Tiny Tane, and I honestly think underrated as well for everything that he achieved on the field this season. He didn't get enough chances. I really feel that. And it's just funny that the last game of the season, CNK moves to centre, and what does he do? He plays a really good game at centre. And then Tuapiki can just show what he can do. I mean, it's going to be a tough battle between, I'm going to throw it out there right now, Tuapiki and RTS for the fullback role. But yeah, seriously underrated. Stocks went up huge. If I was him, would I be sniffing around to maybe move to another club? Because he seems to be the flavour of the month in terms of fullbacks when you've got guys like Trey Fuller, Keanu Kinney. He's in that mould, right? And people are probably looking at him as a guy that can do a job at fullback. But yeah, he's clear front runner in terms of stock up for the Warriors.
Nice, bro. Nice. Moneta. Who have you got, man? I think you were a little bit disappointed to miss out on Tiny Tane there.
I
By
got a
looks.
good replacement there. Mitch Barnett.
Oof.
No, he really turned it up this year.
Oh yeah.
His New South Wales, he played for New South Wales, the winning state, of course. Chuggerin. Oh, man, I'm a Queenslander. And just the way he led from the front, just everything he did just showed leadership, especially when like Tohu Harris was injured. He stepped in and just really showed the way in regards to, just playing it tough. And he's one that just his stock just, I think, shot up like 100% compared to last year. Even though he was, 2023 was a good year for us as an individual for him. I thought he was just fantastic. And I'm so happy he's signed on for another 2 to 3 years, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice, bro.
Here's a question, though, about Mitch Barnett. Going into next season, does he remain captain of the club, or does he take it away from Tohu, or do you pass it on to JFH, Fisher Harris?
Good question. Don't know.
Jeez, it's a pretty good leadership group to choose from there, to be fair.
Yeah. They all lead from the front, right? So,
Do you think I reckon Barnett's earned it? He's earned the captaincy, right? He took on a really tough job.
Kelly
Yeah.
Panetti.
Yeah.
Exactly, Michele Panetti.
He just
And he's willing to talk back to a ref and just stay down and you get that penalty. That's what I really like.
Yeah, I like
You know?
that. Oh,
The ref was like, he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna ref off the-" leading from the front.
That's right. He's just like, bro, look above my eye where there's blood coming out.
yeah.
You're an idiot.
I just need 5 stitches. I think it's a head high.
You think?
The hematoma on my forehead. Yeah.
Exactly. Daniel, who's your stock up, man?
A little bit of an undercover guy, I think, especially because of the start wasn't ideal for the signing, and he got put into representative football, and people were scratching their head to understand why. But actually, in the latter half of the season, he showed exactly why. He is a quality footballer, and the trademark big kind of 360 steps that he does as well is
We're talking about Capewell, right?
Yeah, Capewell. Yeah. So I just think, got a lot of grief early on. Perhaps carrying something, just probably didn't bring that kind of Broncos Panthers form as well. Got into the arena Origin. Like Billy Slater doesn't just pick anyone, right? He pretty much picked him over the big unit for Fita as well. Did a job, and the amount of times that Kate White had to go and play in the centres as well. Like there was probably the last 10 games of the season, like 8 times as well, which didn't obviously help anyway. But I just thought he had a solid season. And also highlight with having Mitch Barnett is that no matter what happens with the Warriors team, you still need some seasoned white Aussie dudes in your team.
Some white pepper.
Just some white little Salt Bay in there. Just to kind of,
white chocolate.
giving camping effect, eh?
Easy there, white chocolate.
Easy there, white chocolate. Wouldn't want you to melt.
Giving camping effect, man.
Yeah.
Yep. I reckon he could throw too. I reckon he could throw down if he really, if someone really pressed his buttons, and I'm kind of looking forward to that day.
You mean Barnett? That's pretty obvious, isn't it?
I suppose. Just let the tiger out of the cage every once in a while, bro. It's all good. Now, actually, I'm going to add a little stock up as well. Not a massive stock up, but someone who went from being kind of fringe, mainly reserve, to being pretty close to knocking on the door of being picked next year as a first choice centre, and that's Ali Leatawa. I think he's I think he's really with the opportunities he's had, it's been kind of sporadic, but I feel like he kind of closed out the year pretty well, and I think he's making a compelling case to say, hey, that left centre spot should be mine. But we'll get into that. We've got a few positions to talk about for 2025 and beyond. But first of all, a couple of new arrivals to mention. Obviously, we mentioned about James Fisher-Harris coming in. We've also spoken a bit about Aaron Clark, who was, I think we spoke about them on the last podcast, which was about 10 weeks ago. And it's finally been confirmed that he's coming in. So I'm excited to see what these boys bring in. It also kind of begs the question as to, if there's any other surprises to just pop up during the off season, who might be, not necessarily on the radar of anyone at the moment, who might just be showing up at Mount Smart to start next year, perhaps. It also does create positional, battles or combinations, trying to pick the best ones. So let's start at the back. Back three. We'll go with you, Isaac. Give us your pick for first choice, fullback and wings.
Ooh, that's tough. DWZ definitely starting on one wing. Montoya, I'd probably go Montoya just because I can't think of anyone really that is doing enough to take his spot out there. Cost of living, it's not quite there yet. We've still got inflation. But the tough ones are RTS or Tuaupiki, I reckon. it's funny how I'm just completely ignoring CNK as well, because I see him as a centre now, and I'm sticking to my guns on that. But it's tough. RTS or Tol Picky, I probably have to go RTS in terms of experience, and still got that playmaking ability at the back. But yeah, maybe Tol Picky on the bench.
Okay.
As a jack in the box.
Yeah. Okay. We'll look at the bench as well a little bit. So you've got, just to recap, you've got RTS, DWZ, and you've still got Montoya on the left, yeah?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Monera, give us yours, man.
Oh, that's tough, eh? So DWZ, definitely DWZ. This one could be contentious, maybe not, but RTS. But then after seeing Montoya play the way he did last game, he had his bulldozing runs. I was like, oh, it's only been one game, so yeah. And so I put RTS, and then I put Tuo Peki at the back. I think we need pace. I think we lacked that this year. Yeah.
Yep, cool. Pace and punch. All right. Tuopiki and then RTS and DWZ. All right. Cool. Daniel?
I'll have what he's having.
Stop it.
You guys, stop it.
I like it. I think because obviously
Gorgeous.
Monty is rumoured to go. Rumoured, but
Tigers, eh? Was that the woman?
Tigers.
Yes.
Tigers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tigers.
facts, yeah. And I think you're right with Tero Picky and the Solves the Problem. Solves the problem what we do with Roger. and I think I like the call of Chan's at centre. Creates a bit of centre heat, but I like their back three.
Nice. I'm going to be very controversial on this. I'm going to put Tane at fullback, and then I'm going to go crazy on the wings. I have Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and Chansukwu Klukster.
Ooh.
I'm going to punt both
I wouldn't say no.
Dallin and Monty. Yeah.
Is it because of DWZ's kind of defensive route at times?
Yes, it is. That's definitely part of it. I know you got 3 tries in the last game, but yeah, I guess across the season, it was enough to frustrate me to the point where I was like, I'd like to see. Yeah, I'd like to make a change.
Stop down.
Now I'm interested to see. Based on your boys' back three that you've picked, who have you got as your best centre combination? So we'll start with you, Isaac.
CNK, Rocco Berry, but Leotao will come along somewhere down the track. Rocco Berry's defense, I thought, was really missed. I mean, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Again, when he was out of there, the defense on that side in particular was wow. And CNK only won one game in the center jersey, but he's just consummate professional. He'll do good wherever he goes, and I reckon fullback. So not fullback. Fullback's not his place, and center. He can play like a fullback at center, where someone like Roger can't play the way he plays fullback at center.
Correct. Yeah, good call. Moneta, who's your centres, man?
I'll just nail down Rocco Berry. Oh man, this one's tough.
But who do you want to play? Do you want him to play centre though?
Stop it.
Stop it.
So
I think
would you have Chans or would you go for?
I think I'd go for the young buck Ali Latawa.
Ali.
I think we need an injection of man, he bumped off he's been bumping off a few players, and he's got that kind of deceptive pace. I think he doesn't look like quick, but he's quick. If you know what I mean. So
you're talking about his leg, yeah.
Get your mind out of the gutter, bro.
High tower, Lea Tower. High tower.
Police Academy. I did those two.
So okay, yeah. So you've got no Chans in your back five.
No, I'll save it for once we finish the back line position. Yeah,
I like that. That's fine.
yeah.
It's all good. I like where we're going with this. Daniel,
We're
your
going to play
centres?
six at the back.
Yeah, I would have Chance in centres. I have Chance with Rocco. I have what Saucy's having. I do love Ali. I just think he's great game in the weekend, but I think there were a couple of games it wasn't that fantastic. And look, he's only a young guy too still, so I think he's a 10 gamer next year, 10 to 12 gamer, so he'll get plenty of opportunities, plenty of runs, and I think 2026 that's when he'll nail down that spot as well. So
yeah, nice.
And that'd be good timing, I guess, when some of those other guys are moving on.
Yeah, nice, bro. I'm gonna go with Rocco and Ali as the centers, because obviously I've done the controversial omission with Dallin getting out of there, so kind of freed up a spot.
You need him.
Yeah. Get out of here. Now, okay, halves. Isaac, your favorite spot to talk about, bro? Because you're the most Harvey out of all of us. Who are you? Who are looking at 60 and 7? Where's Footer's gone?
And I'm back.
Metcalf is the leader of the pack. Yeah, he's going to be marshalling the troops around the park. And the other jersey is yet to be decided. I'm not sold on TMM, and I'm not sold on CHT either. I don't think CHT's future is in the halves myself. Geez. Maybe you do throw a spanner in the works and you put CNK at 6. As a running 6, but then you'd lose too much with the boot, so it's probably going to be TMM.
Okay. So you're going to have Luke at 7 and Tamari at 6, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
I
Moneta.
don't feel very confident about it, though.
Well, Isaac already, jumped
You
ahead
gave
of me,
yourself
but-
away. You gave up.
Yeah, I know.
You're a great poker player.
I'm gonna go with anyways. I'll go with Metcalf and CNK. I mean, like that time, I think when we played the Panthers, I thought he did pretty well. He played more of a running number 6, but I think Metcalf will have more of the boat this year. But again, just an experiment. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Nice. Daniel, who are your halves, man?
Look, I think Luke wants to take the keys. He wants to drive the team. I think it's a great opportunity for him to do so. But you still need someone who's a seasoned half as well. And Tamaidi, when he had the keys to the car this season, he looked sharp and looked good. He did some great stuff as well. So I think there could be an argument that Tamari's 7, and then maybe there's a transfer throughout the season, depending how things go. But yeah, I'd like to see the both of them in the halves.
Leave Tamari to kind of just manage drive things around a little bit early doors, and then and have Metcalf kind of do his thing for a bit before he fully takes over. Yeah, I'm kind of I can really see the merit in that, to be honest. I'd probably go with that as well. I'll keep Luke at 6 and chuck Tamari at 7. Front row. Ooh. Is getting juicy. Isaac, give us your pick.
Barnett, Fisher Harris, obviously, and Wade. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Well, unless one of you guys wants to shift Barnett back to the edge, but I'd like to see him up front.
Yeah. Yep. I can hear that. Monitor.
Same.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a quick section this divisional.
Yeah. Unless
Daniel's got
Can't
something.
you both do Dynamite's not in the front row?
Just to accommodate, because I'm a bit mindful of our lock situation as well, and with our middle. So, and then perhaps with our edges struggling a little bit. Both you guys have called out 2 of our 4 edges that 2 out of our 5 edges that stocks were down. So just to funk it up a bit, I'm going to go with Fisher Harris, Wade, and Tohu up front.
Okay. Yes.
I like that, actually.
Yeah.
Give the big man a break.
Yep.
Tohu.
Give him a Kit Kat.
It's a big ass Kit Kat. Oh, yeah.
Wrap it in tape.
Yeah. The mummy.
Isaac, we go to the second row now, or to the back row. 11, 12, 13.
It's tough. Yeah, I'm going to go Tohu at 13. We need his ball playing ability. Cape Was, so is up one edge. The other edge, I don't know.
That's tough.
I don't know, because I already said both their stocks are down in Jackson Ford and Murata, and I'd like to see Murata on the bench as more playing a front row forward role.
Wasn't that what he was supposed to do earlier in the season? I thought that was the plan.
That's what I thought too, and arguably probably worked out better that way. Shit, to be confirmed. I don't know the other second row. Person. I would be putting Dylan Walker there. No way, that was a failed experiment.
Nope.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Fair enough. Moneta, who are you looking at? 11, 12, 13.
Yeah, Tohu, definitely. Hopefully he's fresh and fit next year. Capewa, like Buddha said, I think he really turned it up in the latter half of the season. Now I'm stumped. Because you're all mentioning Murata. I think we persist with Murata. Yeah. I think he has a good pre-season, and he gets to his form that he had 2023. If we have that form, then stick him in there.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I think if we had stronger options, I'd look to put Murata back as a middle bench, but the way things are at, we've kind of got a spot there, and we need to fill it with someone, and he's a guy who we'll just need a back to turn it around, I suppose. So
we know what he's capable of, so I think if we can get him back there, then we should be good.
Yep. I'll go Murata right edge, Capewell left edge, and then Tohu into the 13 spot. Daniel, who's your back row with?
Well, because I've put Tohu up front, I've got Dills Walker, who's been playing that role and really growing into it as well. Yep. So he'll start at 13. I've got Mitch Barnett available. I think having his presence on the field for near on 80 minutes, or can be 80 minutes. Plus, it's also where his role is for New South Wales too. So have him on one edge and Catewell on the other edge as well.
Nice, bro. Nice. I'm looking forward to seeing what your bench looks like based on that as well. Isaac, who have you got on your bench as your top picks?
That's a big problem because I didn't name a second rower. Anyway, I just left that as just a silhouette.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, it's a vibe. Dylan Walker on the bench, but I do like Buddha's point on him starting in the 13. So now I really want to change my mind. But Walker, Murata, one of the young boys, either Dimitrik or Leka the Wrecker. And CHT. I like CHT on the bench. Can cover lots of
everywhere.
Yeah, positions everywhere. Or Tane. Either Tall Picky or CHT to take that final spot as back cover.
Okay. Yep. Which, given what we saw in 2024, back cover may well be needed in 2025. We'll see. Hopefully not. Jeepers. Moneta. Bench.
Pretty similar. So probably pick Leka. I think there's potential for him. I think we just kind of persist. Dylan Walker. I think there's an obvious one. Aaron Clark, if he's like Jazz 1.1.
Jazz with a flat top.
Yeah. And so I'd pick him. And I might Tomale, I think. We need a big body, I think. Another big body to come in. I think at times we did lack that a bit this season, especially when you had Mitch Barnett and Aiden off. So I think, he started playing well. So I'd include those boys in. So, yeah.
It's funny, when you mentioned Aaron Clark, I just realised who he kind of reminds me a little bit of. And it's Brucey off The Longest Yard. Sorry.
That's a good one.
I just saw it. I was like, yes. Anyway, sorry to distract from the serious business. Daniel, we're nearly there. We're nearly at the bench, bro. What's yours?
Yes, so Aaron Clark, because he's our signing, and
Brucey.
Jazz 2.0 and Brucey. Marata, I want Marata to play in the middle this time round as well. Still have the opportunity to play on edge if needed, but I start him as a middle. CHT obviously needs to be our backup hooker, backup kind of back as well. And there's a guy that came on this year. He ate that other guy called Dimitri Sifikula, and he doubled in size. And that guy is a man mountain. So I'd love to see him continue on. So I'll be here between Sifikula and then Leka as well, both options. But I think Dimitri can be that kind of genuine middle for us.
Yeah.
He's something else, that kid.
Oh, he's like a Russian dolly. Like next year he's going to be
literally
like triple size,
23. He was like as skinny as Moneta, and then got a knee injury and he just hit the gym.
Yeah, beast.
Awesome.
I want to go Chanel 14th man, no matter what. Dylan Walker, Aaron Clark, Brucey, and then I'll add in. I think it's probably between Halasima and Sifakula ready for that last spot to provide a bit of versatility, should I say. I'd probably go with Leka maybe just because you can cover a couple more spots perhaps, but that's my thinking. Anyways, good to kind of just compare notes on what we're all thinking heading into next year, because it's far too early for us to speculate, but it was a whole lot of fun. Also, a massive thing coming next year is the fact that the Warriors are going to be adding the number of teams that they have in the competitions. They're going to be having a women's team, which is going to be massive. So, we're going to see. Yeah, that's right. Wahine is going to be awesome to see them back in the NRLW after they were in the initial one. I remember back in the days during the COVID sort of setup. So that could be a massive game changer for the game in New Zealand, and be cool to see the pathways pumping on that. But lads, before we shut up shop for 2024, has anyone got any remaining points, any burners, anything to get off the chest before we jump?
Can I just say,
John Johnson, one more year. Sorry, yeah. One more year.
I just feel like Brucey now.
When the greatest, kind of the most daunting time of the season turned into be the greatest time of the season. So we came off the back of the Roosters game, absolutely annihilated, blokes falling over left, right and centre, injured. How are we even going to select the team to go to Magic Round and play the Panthers? And we're like, oh, fuck, we don't even want to go to Magic Round because it's the Panthers. And winning that game was, I mean, look, we're not making the 8, we're not making jack shit this year, obviously, but that was awesome, man. What a moment for those young guys. It was like the cup team plus the kind of wider squad, guys playing all over positions, and just great to show, you could there's a bit of life in this club, and you can put a team out there just to take in the premiers and get the job done.
Yeah.
But we all know when the dawn is dark, the darkest dawn.
Say it.
Say it, Daniel. Say it.
It was very dark. And then they rolled into the week after as well with the Dolphins.
It was pretty gloomy.
Very gloomy. But it was a nice ray of sunshine in the middle of the season.
Yeah. It was one of those sort of dawns where it was like, oh yeah, there's a little line of light, and then it went. I was like, oh, okay. And then, oh no, there's a line of no, that's gone as well. Okay, all good. But I think there's definitely something for us to look forward to next year. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens as things change, and gonna see who comes in and who might head out. We might even return for another season as well with the podcast.
I hope Webster gets his good looks back. We saw him during the season. There's a prison tattoos.
Tattoos, yeah. Poor old Webby. Poor old Webby. Yeah. Good. Yeah, he'll be enjoying the off season. Oh dear, boys! It's been a massive season for us on Warriors Anonymous. Man, we've racked up some pretty good numbers across the season, which I will divulge a little bit later when we collate it all. But yeah, on behalf of Morning Sauce, Isaac Sauce, and Daniel Whatakura, my name is Jared Cronin. Thanks very much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please do, because I don't know, it helps us get to Vegas. I don't know if we're going to get to Vegas, but maybe the next time we go. But yeah, on behalf of the team, thanks very much for joining us. Up the wires. Go the Warrior.
Thank you to the fans.
Thanks, Brucey.
Thanks, Brucey.
La cucaracha ya no puede caminar.